All right, guys. Welcome, 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 welcome in. This is Kid Casting. This is the Kid Casting team. My name is Lakeisha Brown, and today I am your host. We're going to just wait for a little second and let everyone come in. But I also will be introducing our guest today, which is Karen Haberberg.
Hello.
Right, let's see. Let's let our people roll in today. Okay, we have people coming in. We see them coming in. Hello, hello, hello. This is kidcasting.com, and I am your host, Lakeisha Brown, and this is Karen Haberberg. So I'm going to just introduce myself just a little bit. So I'm a model. I also do commercial, print, runway modeling. I've done recently some international modeling, which is amazing, and I love it. And I know this platform is for tons of teens, kids, parents who have tons of very insightful questions about their kid entering into this world, into this form, this platform. And Karen is going to, hello, hello, hello. Karen is going to go ahead and direct us. She's going to answer a couple of questions. So I'm going to tell you guys just a little bit about Karen before she goes in and tells some about herself. So Karen, she is an award-winning published author. She's an educator and an artist. She has, some of her work that's shown in some of the galleries. It features numerous major publications, including the ICP. She's in New York Times. She's Wall Street Journal, Daily News, Huffington Post. The list goes on. She's curated exhibitions and collaborated with iconic photographers, guys. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of Bruce Davison. She's also served as a director, a photographer at the JCC in Manhattan, as well as collaborated on commercial shootings with big brands like Johnson & Johnson, Dior. So, and I'll let her go ahead and just speak a little bit more about herself.
Okay, so hi everybody. Thanks for coming today. I'm super excited to be here. You could read my bio, but basically I'm a commercial photographer. And I do a range of types of photography from child, healthcare, pharma, stuff like that, lifestyle, travel. And I was, asked to talk to you guys today, and I'm just excited to be here because the other thing I am is a mom. It's actually the first thing I think I am as a mom. So I understand a lot of concerns around this area and just, where to begin and how to decide and things like that. So I'm here to help.
Yay. Okay. I'm pretty sure we have some parents in here, and some of the questions we kind of took a poll to kind of ask you. Our first one we're going to go into is basically on facial expressions. So this one is this is the question: what facial expressions should my child practice before a commercial photo shoot?
I think that like most of us respond to happy, smiley, quote unquote, obedient kind of children. So, they're looking for kids who can take direction, have a great attitude. They're looking for people who can do different types of expressions and things like that. I think that as kids practice, honestly, it becomes a lot easier because they don't know exactly like what posing techniques that they're going to want at the shoot. I suggest, it's funny, one way to do this is honestly for them to just practice posing at home and take some photos of them and show them what they look like. you can even say to them, oh, can you copy this pose, and show them a pose in a magazine. But these kind of agencies, at least when they're looking to hire you, are looking for kind of a range like that.
Hey, that's a really good, insightful answer on that. Here's some more questions that maybe some of the parents want to know.
Sure.
What poses should my child practice before a commercial photo shoot?
Um, you know, this kind of goes with what I was saying at home at previously. I'm at home, but previously, which is I'd have them practice kind of using their hands and feeling really comfortable and natural in front of the camera. There's a lot of different ways that a photographer can frame these kids in these images. And as a photographer, I know you can do a wide shot, you can do a close up. So you want them to feel comfortable, honestly, in their bodies, and feel like they can kind of be in front of a group of people and be able, if they say move this way, to move this way. And some things I think that when kids are starting out, and even adults, and you could probably speak to this better because you're a model, I'm just behind the camera, is people tend to move very quickly. And I think for the photographer, at least, it's important to slow down. Models that I've worked with for a long time can actually know when I'm ready to move on sometimes, because they'll hear the clicking, or sometimes I'll just say, like, you do your own thing, and I'll just shoot, 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 shoot. So you're really working with the photographer a lot. So sometimes I think the photographer a good photographer should give direction to these kids, because they don't know what this client's looking for. So that's a little bit on us to make that clear to the people in front of our camera.
Okay. That's good. I like that you said that. From my previous history, I kind of go off of a song and dance in my head. So it's like a slow motion, it's like just something in my head. It's a slow motion song and dance. And it
Yeah.
does help to kind of have, if you do not have that relationship with a photographer, to go in as a parent or a model to ask for that direction. What are you looking for today? What are we aspiring to, pull from this shoot? What type of emotions would you like for me to evoke through, the camera lens? So yes, it's a really good.
Also, there's that you could ask the agent or whoever it is that hired you ahead of time for there's usually a deck or like a mood board of what they're looking to capture, so ahead of time a little bit of what the mood and feeling is of it, because there's more like a commercial look versus an editorial look for the images. So I don't know if they share that, but that would be helpful. I would ask for that.
We just had a question just came into the chat, and it's in line with another question. So she just asked about her toddler. So this is attitude. How do you maintain a positive and supportive demeanor throughout the session? And I guess this is more so towards the parent who has a
Mhm.
toddler shooting.
Sure. So there are agencies, out there that are going to accept, babies as young as 3 months old. Um, I think that, the temperament of the baby or young child is critical, obviously, and they're human just like everyone else, and they have good days and bad days. I mean, there's things you obviously can do to help ensure it, like make sure they're rested, make sure they're fed well, bring snacks, you know, if maybe like a reward afterwards if they do a good job or listen, or they need to be, unfortunately, at their best, which is part of the hard part of this work. But I also think that, we're not expecting perfection. We know that they're young.
Okay. Yes. So this was a follow-up question to that one. This one is how do you ensure that both you and your child adhere to the photographer's guidance and maintain safety that way?
Well, I mean, as a mom, and if I were thinking about doing this with my kid, I mean, I would never leave my kid alone, uh, or without, let's call it, a parent or guardian or some trusted adult. And I actually think on set these days, they don't want to not have, as a client, they don't want to not have an adult there because they have their own legal ramifications later on. There are definitely a number of regulations to keep these kids safe. And child labor laws, to be honest, in this modeling kind of world vary from state to state. Many of the states, I think that, the kids have to meet like a certain health standard. They have to be a decent student. Where the financial compensation goes once they get it. Like there are strict guidelines about this that you will get more involved in if you choose to pursue.
That sounds good. I would, when I
Answer
first
that.
started modeling, I did. When I first started, I was 17. So yes, it made it much easier to have my parental guidance, my mom there for support, because as I got older, I took that for granted when I was 19 and doing it. And I was like, oh, I'm still a little nervous, it's still, you're putting yourself on display. So that also helps that relationship between child photographer so they can feel at ease and safe and to be able to, do the task at hand. Um,
Absolutely.
can you touch on some of the physical preparations that parents and these kids that are casting, how would they prepare? I know you spoke on being well rested, any other tips?
Sure. I would suggest, like, when you're going in there, or even when you're doing photos for your portfolio, that your child looks age appropriate, natural. I wouldn't overdo any makeup. I wouldn't overdo any outfits. Um, it's actually to like very plain backgrounds in your photos, and just what you're showing is kind of just a regular person, because you want them to envision a little bit of like how they can see you. I don't think you want to impart to them a type of person that you are, except for the fact that you're confident, you have a great attitude, you're ready and willing. Smiling a lot is key. Things like that, I think, are most important in that realm.
Okay. Those are really good. I mean, those are some good tips that take you anywhere in life, not just modeling, but, in life, just being very confident, making sure you're smiling a lot. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a lot of the parents or the models that are casting here that are looking for this, they also need some of like kind of the deep background answers, like when it comes to legality, the paperwork. How does that work when it comes to the questions and how should they be addressed, prior or doing a photo shoot?
um Before they even honestly go to a photo shoot or look at an agency to sign with, as a parent and a person in the world today, I feel like there's a lot of scams out there, and you're dealing with your children. Um, and I would just really look into everything before I put my kid in that environment, or even open up my kid to the conversation. Because there are a lot of amazing agencies out there, and there's some really not reputable ones. And I just think that you really have to do your homework, and meaning a parent. Also, that even goes into, frankly, while we're on a minute of safety, social awareness kind of stuff. Like, if your kid becomes known a little bit more and they have an Instagram and, people reaching out to them and things like that, I would definitely monitor that. That being said, as far as contracts and stuff like that go, there's different kinds of contracts. There's an exclusive contract and a non-exclusive contract. So this is all about kind of, where they have the freedom to work afterwards, and is it a one-time thing? Is it an ongoing shoot and things like that? I mean, the more you work out before is always the better. I would never sign anything without an entertainment lawyer or somebody looking at it. And I would try and remind myself, because it can sound exciting and they can say like, oh, tomorrow I have, this great shoot. And, maybe you don't, you really have to like do your diligence and not get too sucked into the excitement, because, everyone says, oh, this will never happen, but then it can happen. And I would especially make sure there's a termination clause in there and that your kid's not locked in for years and years, because also don't forget, these kids are changing. So today they might be really into it, and next year they might be like, I hate this. So I like an exit strategy.
That's important, an exit strategy, of course. So I'm seeing some of the questions pop up, and some of the parents in here, clear as a parent, they're saying, what are some of the red flags you should look for when you have these agencies that reach out to you, that's via email, social media? What are some of the red flags they should look for?
uh Anyone asking you for any money up front, I would just not respond to, because there's no reason for it. In fact, I mean, I'm a photographer and I highly believe in having quality images to share, but you don't need to spend, a gazillion dollars on this kid's portfolio. It's better off to get some solid shots and do it again in 6 months or so, because they change all the time. So these agencies want to see a current photograph. What else would I be wary of? Anyone that doesn't let, sorry, my dog, anyone that doesn't let, or not even let, anyone that discourages an adult from being with them, red flag. What else? I think those are the big ones. I think that, also just as far as like, go with your gut. Like, these people should be pretty professional and courteous. Just like, your kid and you should be, right? It should feel like the right thing. And if it doesn't, I would be out of there. And I personally, would not leave my child unattended. So that would help too.
I like that you said go with your gut as well, because I'm pretty sure all of us have from anywhere has received an email or call or a text message saying, hey, we need money up front, or hey, meet here, we'll send you a check and you just give us something when you get there, deposit into your account. So, as an adult, it goes those red flags and like, is this, I don't know, but a lot of times, as a model speaking, you know,
Sure.
you're 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 waiting for that next big thing, and then you have the, what is it? FOBO, fear of missing out. So you're just jumping at things, but you have to just steer clear and trust your instincts. I love that you said that, and watch out for things that just aren't right. If someone has received one of those emails or something and they don't particularly, they can't trust their instincts at the moment, it sounds too good to be true, how can they double check that without falling into a predator's hands?
I mean, I think that, one of the good things about social media and web presence is you can check up on things. Like, I would read through threads about these companies, about these people. I would read reviews. I mean, I would do that anyway, whether I was concerned or not. Because there is a lot of info out there. And I do believe, things like that, not always, obviously, but do come out. And if it's a repeated situation, that's not great. So I would definitely be doing that kind of background check.
Good one. We have a question here from Bella Alvi. She says, of course, she says, hi, it's good to be here. Her question is, what should be my first step for my 1.5-year-old who I want to be a commercial model? Can you
Okay.
do an introductory photo shoot with them?
Wait, I'm sorry. What was the last part? What's her first step?
She said, what's the first step on becoming a commercial model for her 1.5-year-old? And her second question is, can you do an introductory photo shoot with them?
Okay, so sure, we can work that part out later, but your first step should honestly be take a step back and think, is my kid right for this? Right? There's like a lot of pros and cons to modeling. And I think you really do have to consider their temperament, and also there's a lot of rejection in it. So in one sense it can build confidence and develop work ethic and teach kids how to cope with things. And then in another sense, it's really stressful and can be high pressured, and rejection can be painful. So I think you want to take a step back and say, is this the right thing for me and my family? Because also for the parent, it will take a lot of time, like going to castings, responding to, the people, the kid might be missing school. So I would just really take a moment to think, is this the right thing? And is it the right time? So I think that that's something worth thinking about.
Okay. I think the second part of her question was oops, it's gone now. I think she was asking, basically what you said the temperament of the child, you have to basically gauge that even if you're going to start doing a portfolio shoot.
I
Um,
think that her second question was a good question, which is, oh, can we set up a photo shoot? And the truth is, I think it's actually a great way to almost test out if your kid is right for this. Because, if I shot, photographed, them for this portfolio, I would be doing a very similar thing to when I'm on set, right? I'm asking the kid to do this. I'm seeing if they're cooperative. We're seeing if they're comfortable in front of the camera, so I kind of feel like it's not a bad test run to do it. I think it's, a way to put them in that environment that's safe and comfortable.
okay, okay. So if you're a parent or you're new to this at kid casting and you've given steps on how to start. If they want to know how to find the casting calls, of course they will be on kidcasting.com. There will be some casting calls on
Right.
there. Right. And so that should be kind of like the first initial step of that. But outside of kid casting, how can they find casting calls?
So I would do a couple things. I mean, there are open casting calls in, cities, especially New York, where I am, that you can always Google and reach out to. There's also like model searches that you can reach out to. And I think that it might be a good way to also start with it if you really want to try this, like send pictures and a link to your child's like digital modeling portfolio. Put in it, their name, their weight, their height, their age, and also if they have any talents, maybe they speak another language, maybe they're a toddler, who is walking early and they're small. So that's a like unique feature, anything that they think could sell their kid in that way is really great. An instrument, things like that. I would put in there. So it's almost like a mini resume, but I would find the agencies that I would think like, oh, I've researched this. I trust, it seems like I can trust them, and reach out to them as well. Because it's a good way to start.
It is. One thing I do like about kidcasting.com is that it
Tell me.
is a digital portfolio. You
Mhm.
basically can upload your reels, of your child playing sports, your child, doing a violin lessons, gymnastics. It's basically a digital portfolio. You can put it on your kids' Instagram, Facebook, the link, and they can go directly to their kid casting profile. I do
Yeah,
like
and
that.
you're and you guys on your site also, you have a lot of really good information about kind of what we're talking about,
Mhm.
specifically. So that's a great resource as well.
Yes. So this is like a major, major question. It's basically in the child's safety. So the question is, how do I endure my child's well-being for a commercial photo shoot? Covering physical, mental, and emotional aspects of that.
Okay, so a good question, obviously one we have to consider. So there are laws that needs to be followed. So kids can only work, depending on their age, a certain number of hours per day. They get a
Mhm.
certain number of breaks, for example, in that period of time as well. They have to, eat at a certain time. And you're
Schooling as
there. So what?
and schooling as well.
Yes. Same with schooling. So if go to, like, I don't know the website offhand, but if you search like New York City laws, California laws, they all are very clear on what is expected. And to be honest, any reputable agency is not going to go against that or mess with that, because nobody wants that kind of an issue, especially with dealing with minors. So and also, you know what, we're grown-ups, right? We do what we need for our kids. So if we feel like something's not right, I would just pick my kid up and be out of there. Like, I'm exaggerating and I don't see this happening, but obviously safety first.
Yeah. When basically as a parent, or even just speaking as myself, I have to just throw my my my
Oh,
situation, or what I know in on that. Definitely read through contracts. I would say a professional that is reaching out to you, they're going to send you a contract. They're always going to do that because they're going to protect themselves legally on their end.
sure.
And we talked about red flags. That should be one. If they never send you one, that is a big red flag. So, yes, read the contract thoroughly and see if it lines up with your own personal guidelines. And if it doesn't, basically reach back out and say, well, hey, this is my contract. Can we meet somewhere in the middle? And you definitely, as a young adult starting out when I was 17, I was a teenager, my parents did go over those things, and you would have someone absolutely call in and discuss the contract with you as well. So you will understand, the parent will understand, the child will understand. And so you would feel safe. You would feel, like you have a team behind you. I really like that. I really love that. And I think that's
Yeah,
kind of,
I mean, I think that we obviously as parents go through the contract, but I would also hire an entertainment lawyer or somebody to really look at it and go through it.
wow, 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 wow. That's really good. I love that. Also hiring a attorney to protect you on that end.
100%. Yeah.
Yes. Can you also, well, we bragged just a tad bit about some of your accolades. Can
Okay.
you also like delve into, take us there on the journey with you in a photo shoot for Johnson and Johnson?
Well,
And
those are what do you call it? I had a non-disclosure, but I'll give you another one.
yes, yes, just give us another one, just something like that.
You're talking about really from beginning to end, or which part do you want me to start at?
like a synopsis of, so they would know, like if there's a parent in here who hasn't fully jumped all the way in, to kind of give them an eye of what to prepare for, what it could be like, the excitement,
Okay.
the joy.
So at the point that you guys would get involved, a lot of decisions will have already been made on what this campaign is going to look like. And then they're looking for, specific age or type of child or demographic, which you would find out. And then assuming you're hired, you would show up at the shoot, be early. I would definitely be very responsive to any emails you're getting along the way. These things move very quickly, so you can lose your spot or opportunity quickly as well. So even if you set up a separate email or thing like that, I would just be checking that quite often. I would have, just going back, I would have like a set outfit that you're going to be wearing to get there. And much of the time, they'll also send out something to ask you if they don't have like a wardrobe person, or if it's a lower budget thing. I would say once you get to the shoot, you probably have to wait because things run funny like that. I mean, they're on time, but they'll want to do makeup and things like that. And they really, I mean, from every shoot I've ever been on or I've conducted, the most important person there is the person in front of the camera. It is. So that is going to be your kid. So I think people make it as easy as possible for that person because they want to get the best out of them as well. They'll give you an idea of timing and things like that and scheduling. And I would say the best thing you can do is have like a really easy attitude about the whole thing. I've read and heard a lot from a lot of agencies and things. They'll love the kid, but the parent's a pain, and they won't rehire the kid because they won't deal with the parent. There's a lot of that, right? Also, it's not just on the kid. And you as the parent have to kind of remember that and really be as professional and courteous as possible.
Right. True, because they do both go hand in hand. Yeah.
Until they're older.
Right. Um, I'm pretty sure a lot of the participants that are here today that are watching this, they want to know, they probably have other questions that weren't asked today. Is there a
Sure.
way to reach you, to reach out to you? What's your email?
Yes, sure. I can put that in the chat if you'd like, assuming everyone knows how to access it. Um, so
Or you
I
can just tell them. And also your Instagram. Please follow, guys.
Yes, I love my Instagram. I have two different ones, one for travel and one for commercial photography. So I'm putting in my Instagram, and then I'll give you my contact info. Um, I just want to remind them and everybody, I come from the photographer side of it. So I'm more of a creative than, I'm not a legal expert of any kind. So please keep that in mind if you're asking me anything.
I love that too, because as they say, photographers are artists, and we're just, as a model, we're your canvas.
Mm-hmm.
And the imagination and the skills and the craftsmanship that comes out on the photos from a photographer, I've learned that there could be 4 photographers there and 1 model, and each of them look different. So my
100%.
suggestion, yeah, I do have a suggestion starting out for parents who are just starting out and building a portfolio. My suggestion is to have more than one, at least up to 3 photographers, until you find that niche, that one you love, and you build that relationship with them. Because that photographer, you guys will work in unison, in sync. It's like it's making a cake. So,
Yeah.
and it will make things easier. It will make things easier for your child. If you're a teenager starting out, it would make things easier for yourself as well, less stress. You will be able to take
Absolutely.
very good direction from that photographer, and it won't, you can be critiqued by that photographer, and it won't be, emotional crashing or detrimental.
It's
So
about trust, right? I mean, you need to trust the person in front of you. And it allows you more to be yourself. And especially in the work that I do, because it's with kids or it's with healthcare patients or it's in, what would I call it? More sensitive kind of areas. It's
mm,
really important that the people in front of my camera know that they are the priority. So like if it's their health issue and they need a break, or if it's, they need a snack or they're having a meltdown for a minute and they need to walk away, they have to feel comfortable that, we can work through it.
well, I'm going to, give myself out, guys. I'm a model. Like I said, I do commercial, I do print, I do runway. So my Instagram where you can reach me is December me 1212. And I think Karen, she also put hers in the chat, her
Yes.
Instagram. And please go check out some of her beautiful photography. I did. I loved it.
Okay.
And is there a way, Karen, if someone wanted to hire you as a photographer, is that like,
100%. I love it. It would be great. I mean, I love working with kids. I love meeting new people, learning about your stories and all of that. Yeah, if you go to my website or you want to email me, there's a form there. And I think I put in the chat my email, and internet, but it's KarenHaberberg.com. Um, so please feel free to reach out. I'd love to meet you.
hey, this was awesome. It was so awesome. And Karen, it was just such a pleasure to be just gracing the internet with you at this moment.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I loved it, loved it. And I'm pretty sure, hold on, we have one more question. We have one more.
Sure,
Right, hold on.
sure.
Um, oh, it went away. I'm so sorry. I tried to
Okay.
click on it. I'm so sorry, guys. She did put her Instagram and her email information out. And as she said, she's not a paralegal. She is an awesome artist and a photographer. So if there's any questions that you have in that realm for her, please reach out. Please reach out. And I love that she's, willing herself to be reached. It's very, very hard. I will tell you guys this. It's really hard to get in contact with somebody of her caliber. It is just
Oh,
not that easy.
you're
So,
kind.
yes. So guys, please reach out, please. Okay, and if you have any questions, you can drop them in the Q&A chat box, guys, because we're about near. Okay, we have another one.
Sure.
Oh, your Toronto office address. I do not know that one. So I'm not familiar. Are you familiar with that question? She's asking about a Toronto office
No,
address. Hmm.
I'm sure.
No, Karen says she's based out of New York, guys. She's based out of New York. And for you models and parents who have kids as models, there's New York Fashion Week that's coming up in February. I know it's just November, but you have time to prepare, and get ready, hit those casting calls. And I would be on kid casting, thumbing through, okay? If you want that work, thumb through. Let's see, we have another question and answer. Let's see. No. Oh, okay, so I don't know that question. I'm pretty sure, they're asking about a Dropbox. So, anything you want to kind of touch base on that we haven't asked questions on?
I think that, again, I would go back to because this would be my struggle, like how to decide, is my child right for this job? Is it worth it? Um, and I would just take a look at that in my mind. Like, is this something my kid wants to do? Because they have to want to do it, or it won't last very long. So their willingness is important in this. And sometimes, we want our kids to do things they don't want to do. And from my experience, it doesn't work out great.
Right.
And I would just also make sure they're kind of ready. So like a kid at 2, they may be a great model, but maybe not at 2, right? Maybe they need to be 5. So just, where your kid's at the time. You don't want to feel like you're forcing them to do anything. That's just my opinion.
Okay, we do have a really good question. I know you touched on this. Carlene Simpson asked, well, she says, I have done the modeling casting calls, but it seems they all want us to pay for our kids to model. Is that how it is always? I know you did answer this question, but maybe she
I mean,
came
I'd
in.
love to hear more detail from her because it sounds questionable to me, what they're paying for. So, if they get a job, do they need to pay a commission to some agent or person? Yes, usually. But if it otherwise, I'm not sure what that money is going for.
On my end as a model, I have absolutely seen that sometimes they will ask a model. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's saturated with fashion shows every weekend. Do you understand? They may not be accredited shows, I will say that, but I look at it as this is a job, and for you to walk down the runway with clothes on, I've never done a job where I had to pay to be a part of a show, to work and put on the clothes. So I would say no to that. And if you've been kind of stuck in that realm, you drop it ASAP. Drop it immediately. So we have another question. Oh, Carlene Simpson. Is Carlene? Oh, okay. She said she was asked to pay $500 for her child to model in a show. That is
Yeah,
no.
that I've not heard of, as, you know, not sure how that would benefit her. So why would she be asked to pay?
She also said that the New York Fashion Week casting calls asked for models, and then she signed up. She said, for example, they wanted 400% to register. Yeah, no. Hmm. All righty. Well, I will tell you, Carlene Simpson, to avoid at all costs. I think you're definitely going to have to spend some money, and it's called investing if you have not been picked up by a agency. But if you're out there doing it on your own, you're going to, put in a little bit to get pictures done, to build this portfolio, to have your child probably do, if you're a teenager, posing classes, walking classes. But 500 to be a part of a fashion show, that is a no-go.
I mean, they might be selling it as like, oh, they're getting this great exposure kind of thing or something. I'm not sure.
But it's still,
I'm not sure it pays off either, but I'm just
no,
wondering what their,
right,
sales pitch is.
right. Um, For everyone else that's still on here, I know that Karen has given her Instagram and her email, but also if you have any questions, please email support@kidscasting.com. There's a ton of support over there that can help you with some of the questions. We have Margaret. Before we end, we have Margaret. She says she has been invited to apply for casting jobs for her 10-month-old. She says she's always asked to purchase a t-shirt before I could submit my application or make a subscription fee. Okay.
I don't know. That sounds a little interesting. Never heard of that. You should not have to pay anything up front, to be honest. Like, will you have to pay people out as a commission or, getting you the job and things like that? 100%. But you shouldn't have to pay before you're paid.
Karen, so if someone doesn't, can you like break that down? Because maybe some don't understand that. Like, yeah, I'm paying, but I'm not paying. And yeah, I will say you're not paying upfront for something. And
Correct.
when you do get a check, it may have, if you're an agent with an agency, it may have somewhere there's a deductible where the agency gets their fee because they
Exactly.
absolutely are doing the footwork to find the job for you.
Right. So
Down better for them.
I mean, the concept is you're hiring this agency to get you work. When they get you work, they get paid as well. And according to your contract, which will openly lay this out, they'll probably get a certain percentage. That could be 20%, it could be 30%, but some percentage of what the job is to, for their work in arranging, hiring, connecting you, etc. There's basic standards of that depending, who you're working with. And that again needs to be very ironed out before you show up anywhere. And I mean, usually it is. I don't know a time that it's not. But that's an important term that you need to make sure it's clear before, showing up anywhere.
I agree on that one. I definitely agree. Let's see. Okay. Well, the
And the
questions.
other thing, actually, while we're talking about compensation, it should also not just talk about the bookings, but also and the percentage that they're getting, but it should also kind of specify like who's responsible for other expenses related to it and taxes and like what's the percentage they're getting. Is it from the top? Is it after expenses and things like that? I would iron out.
Yes.
Travel and things like that.
All righty. Yes. So, I know Kate, well, she's not here. So, sorry. The kid casting team, they absolutely, when you go into kidcastingteam.com and you guys are looking at the casting calls, yes, still thumb through to make sure that those casting calls will fit perfectly for your child. So I do see on there they have it to where it will require someone who's 14 or 16. And if your child is probably 12 and 13 on the profile, it will say, it will be unhighlighted. But if your child is 14 and 16, it'll be highlighted. And yeah, you can still submit because maybe they'll be like, well, I like the profile. I like that. There's lots of questions coming in near the end. Sorry, Karen. I'm trying to just thumb through them.
No problem.
Okay. And some of these questions are definitely for kidcasting.com. So guys, make sure you send these questions over. and that team will definitely be able to answer those questions.
I have one other suggestion. I'm looking through the chat that reminded me. Some people do a short video where the child is introducing themselves. So, where you would send in a resume or something and it says like height, age, that they sometimes will have their kid look in the camera and say it instead, which it does give a better kind of showing of like who your kid is. They're able to stand in front of the camera, they can make eye contact, they can speak. So I mean, I think it's an always good to have that such thing around. Different agencies, different casting, they'll ask for different things, right? So you want to have a bunch of different things handy. They'll want, for example, for photos, like they'll want to see a headshot, but they'll probably also want to see a full body. Like, are you applying for, a curvy kind of, photo shoot, or is this a different look and feel, things like that. So they'll want like a medium shot or a wide shot and things like that. Or is there any way your kid acts, so like can act? So they might want a shot where your kid is doing something they enjoy, maybe they're playing a sport versus just staring at the camera. So it's nice to have like a group of images to pull from based on what they're looking for.
When you were stating in the beginning, like a small video, I think it's stated as a slate. It's a slate.
Exactly.
And it gives the client or whoever is pulling from your portfolio wants to hire you, like you said, it gives them an image of who you are, basically a personality video of who you are, and just not just an image. So because images can, what, as you know, as an artist, can say 1,000 words. So yeah, guys, we're about near to the end, guys, and we're still here taking any of the questions you guys have that Karen can answer. Oh, okay. So Abby, if you can see, Abby says, is a resume the same as a comp card? And she says she has a 4-year-old.
Is a resume the same as a comp card? I'm not even sure how to answer that. I mean, I don't know what exactly they're asking to put on the comp card, but a resume to me will show also their experience. So, anything they've been in, or like I was saying, talents, things like that. I think a comp card is probably more basic information.
Abby, the comp card is basically just your measurements, how to get in contact with you, and 4 to 5 still slated pictures of yourself. And when you have a comp card, it's just basically it's not your portfolio at all. Your portfolio is outdoor pictures. It's showing a range of how you can model. That's what a portfolio is. Your comp card is just basically your measurements, how to get in contact with you, and how do you look without all the jazz and the thrills,
It's like a
Basic.
promo card.
Yes. Yes, it's your business card as a model. That's basically what a comp card is.
Right.
Your resume, definitely have a resume. You can have all of those things basically on kidcasting.com. It will have your digital portfolio ready for you. Your comp card is basically there, and you can download it, print it out. You can send it. You can put the link of it to any of your social medias, your Facebook, Instagram, and it also holds your resume, everything you've done, listed from year, time, and date. So let's
Exactly.
see. Can you sign up and create a profile, a portfolio in Kid Casting? Of course, you definitely can. Yes, you can. Definitely. Guys, go and do kidcasting.com. I am not on kidcasting.com, but I'm on the regular casting.com. And I use my profile as my digital portfolio. It makes it easy whenever if someone like Karen reaches out to me and they say, "Hey, I like what you have on Instagram. Do you have more?" And I'll just send them that link, and it's just everything right at their lap. They get to see, hear your voice, see how you move, see your portfolio. Yes. And if you guys look in the chat, there's a register link there now. It's kidcasting.com, so you can go and register. All right. So, Karen, anything else you would like to share before we wrap all the way up?
Oh, I think we covered a lot. I think someone's asking for my info again,
Yes.
so where I put it over here, I'll repaste it. But no, it's been a pleasure. I thought everybody asked great questions. I think we covered a lot for the amount of time we were here.
Yes.
And thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
My
Thank you.
pleasure. Great to meet you too.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Karen.